We're very impressionable when we're young, and sometimes watching old movies just doesn't quite live up to our first impressions of them. Not with Young Guns, and to a lesser degree, Young Guns 2. So when I heard rumors of a third outing into the life of William H. Bonney, all of the old memories of my mid-teens flooded through my mind. My high school escapades, my old friends, and losing my virginity. These films truly encapsulated the energy and the devil-may-care attitude of a young man in the 80s. So could they pull off the same excitement, vibe, and fun associated with the first two?
Let's dance!
First, a little backstory. The original Young Guns hit theaters in 1988 and was helmed by Christopher Kane, the man responsible for 5 episodes of the Magnificent Seven TV show, as well as other country-themed films. It boasted an all-star cast, including Emilio Estevez, Kiefer Sutherland, Lou Diamond Phillips, and Charlie Estevez. Not to mention Jack Palance of the iconic film Shane. The story was simple and efficient. A landowner and philanthropist who takes in strays is gunned down to facilitate a land grab. His family of strays takes it upon themselves to avenge his murder by bringing down the antagonist and his ring of miscreants. The film is at its core a retelling of the Lincoln County Wars and the origins of Billy the Kid. Now, what could be more badass than a young Billy the Kid and his pals shooting up a bunch of assassins in the Wild West? The second film was released in 1990 and was directed by Geoff Murphy. It takes place following the events of the Lincoln County War and involves the hunt for Billy the Kid. It presupposes the idea that Pat Garrett didn't actually kill the kid after all the time, money, and resources that were invested in his capture or elimination. Though the weakest of the two, it boasted the same action-packed story that we've come to expect from westerns, and a soundtrack that was a gritty, high-energy blend of rock and western influences that perfectly complements the film's rebellious outlaw spirit. It's arena rock with a western twist, like electric guitars paired with subtle nods to frontier instrumentation, like harmonicas and acoustic strums. The production is polished, yet raw enough to feel authentic to the film's gritty narrative. I'm giving it a little extra attention because, quite frankly, it's one of my favorite albums of all time. So this brings us to Young Guns 3, Dead or Alive. Estevez basically describes the film as a historic offshoot of the established narrative of the death of Billy the Kid at the hands of the coward Pat Garrett. It's going to be directed and starring Emilio Estevez as the Kid, and will feature returning cast members such as Lou Diamond Phillips as Jose Chavez y Chavez and Christian Slater as Arkansas Dave Rudabaugh, along with a new generation of regulators. The story is once again set to explore the myth of Billy the Kid, but in 1881, when he's taken up the alias of Brushy Bill Roberts, well into the 20th century. Specifically, the narrative involves Billy the Kid meeting Mexican revolutionary Pancho Villa in the early 1900s, decades after the events of Young Guns 2. This aligns with Estevez's interest in the Brushy Bill story as depicted in the second film, where he played the aged Billy in old age makeup. The script, written by Estevez and John Fusco, is described as wonderful by Phillips, so it seems like it at least has a chance of being good. And it creatively addresses the ambiguous off-screen deaths of characters like Chavez to justify their return. Filming is slated to begin in fall 2025 in New Mexico, and there's even speculation about John Bon Jovi's involvement, potentially contributing to new music. A new Young Guns John Bon Jovi album? Yes, please. Estevez also hinted at the potential for further sequels, suggesting a broader narrative arc for the franchise. But here's a little bit of Estevez in his own words, describing Young Guns 3.
But it does center on a bunch of new regulators. And it takes place, most of the film takes place in Mexico.
Yeah.
Falls on the eve of the Mexican Revolution. So you have a young Pancho Villa who's 28 at the time. And then, of course, during the Mexican Revolution, the Germans were funding Pancho Villa. Because the Americans were just, they were not interested. They looked down their nose at Mexicanos. So I become the Tunstall character,
right,
in many ways, and bring this group of young, mostly Latino, young men through their paces, and then all hell breaks loose. And so the setup is great. Big indigenous people cast, without feeling like it's. It feels natural.
Yeah,
it doesn't feel like it's, oh God, they made the woke version of Young Guns.
Yeah.
After such groundbreaking movies as Old Henry, a fictional story about Billy the Kid in his old age, and the runaway success of the nostalgic IP Top Gun Maverick, Young Guns 3 is definitely the film audiences want to see, if done right with care for the legend and reverence for the characters. Young Guns 3 is one film that I can't wait to see at the theaters. Well, what's your favorite line in Young Guns? Are you a fan of the franchise? Are you excited to watch it? Comment below. And as always, keep watching movies.